Hello everybody and welcome to The Breakdown. Put your seatbelts on please before we move off. With me for this first episode, World Cup winners Ben Kate.
There's no way Leicester City Council are giving Leicester Tigers 20 million to redevelop their stadium.
Emily Scarratt.
I think in the game we're crying out for characters, opportunities to grow the sport.
And two Northampton Saints and England internationals, Henry Pollock.
We love playing at packed out stadiums, that's why you want to play a sport, right?
And Tommy Freeman.
You don't need a massive bank to compete with these guys.
We're going to talk about all the biggest issues, we're going to analyse.
This gap off the base is quite big, so whose role would it be to fill this in?
We're going to laugh, we're going to cry, we're going to have lots of fun.
It kills us, doesn't it, when we see people with dodgy haircuts?
Yeah, you're like, mate, you're all this
what we would give to be able to have a normal haircut.
Shotgun! Cheers, Benny.
I was opening that for you.
My lady,
Oh, yeah?
my lord.
Room for a little
Got
one.
enough leggy, Benny? Yeah. Put your seatbelts on please before we move off.
Is this Oxford tan leather?
I call it Essex tan.
This dog hair or your hair or?
I haven't got a dog. Yeah, I've got a dog, yeah. There's a bit of dog hair. You can tell a lot about somebody by
Someone
the
from-
stuff they've got in their car.
100%.
There's all sorts going on here, right? I've got my daughter's latest love letter from school, which she showed me, which is cute.
What?
Oh,
Sorry, an
coffee cups.
actual coffee cup.
Got coffee cups. I got everything, mate.
You need a duster as well, look at this.
That's an actual cobweb, that, isn't it?
Actual cobweb.
That is an actual cobweb. It's symbolic of something. I'm not quite sure what. We need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the World Cup
Oh, yes.
that's upcoming, the home World Cup that's
Yes.
upcoming for you.
Yes.
And I want to start on a positive.
Okay.
It's
What's the
amazing
negative?
home. Well,
Sorry, yeah, positive. Go on.
the positive is that it's great and it's coming and it's there.
Yeah.
The negative is that you super orcs if you don't win it. Just saying. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably is.
Win it, Benny, because they've got to win it. Like, 2015 was bad
Yeah.
for the men,
Yeah.
but they weren't outright favourites to win it.
No. My career isn't stacked. We've obviously won one, but I've also lost in 3 finals. So it would be good to try and just nudge that ratio slightly on the nicer side.
Yeah. At least you won one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You can never get rid of that one, can you?
God, imagine how horrifically nervous you'd be if you hadn't won that one now.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you say that, but obviously
Most of the girls haven't.
that was 2014.
No,
That was
exactly.
over 10 years ago. Most of the girls
Exactly.
haven't won one, so.
But that's what I was
it's,
saying, yeah.
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 But no, should be fun. We head into camp soon. Big summer of training, and then get amongst it.
The Lions is an interesting subject. The men's Lions, this is, of course, there's a women's one. Do you think you'll make the women's one?
No.
No? Are you announcing your retirement?
Oh, wow. We've got an exclusive.
You get exclusive. Can be friends,
No,
grab a
but
friend.
it's 2027. Look, let's never say never, but
You'll
it
be
seems
like,
incredibly.
You're 48 by then, won't you?
Yeah, something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be. Maybe if there's like a. Do they all normally take like a former player as some form of like managerial that never does anything? I could
Will
do
you be
something like
like-
I think
that.
they all do.
If you got like a
do
lion's costume, you could be like their version of Bill.
Yeah, or
The
that.
youngest player just has to carry you around.
And we've got, of course, a Prem final coming up shortly, a couple of weeks, sold out at the Allianz.
How good's that?
That's
Sold
brilliant.
out already.
To do it that early.
The thing about Bath rugby this season, I reckon, is like the Red Roses at the home World Cup.
Yeah.
It's like
been a procession.
If Bath don't win it,
Yeah.
that is a serious cock up.
Yeah.
Like that is major. They've been the best team, definitely,
Yeah.
by a stretch.
Yeah.
So if they don't win it,
Yeah.
that's major, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only thing that will really help them is losing last year.
Yeah.
Like that is
Yeah.
such a big. The
They've
amount
already got that in
of
the bank.
the amount of teams in rugby, not just Premiership, whatever, but that you almost have to lose one. Not have to, but the amount you learn from being at a final and it not coming up.
What time are the Saints boys arriving?
That's your 100 cap game.
Is it? Oh yeah, because I'm wearing those boots.
Can you come into the studio, please? Skaz, how come you're late in? What were you talking about out there?
It's Dave Flatman, mate. Dave Flatman. Yeah.
No, sorry to interrupt your chat, Skaz. You're talking about the
No,
massive
yeah.
picture of you on the wall.
It's the
Outside
prime,
the
prime
gents'
real
toilets.
estate that I'm occupying out there, yeah.
Well done, mate. Oh, well done.
Thank you.
Oh, here they go. They made it. How you doing, lads?
Nice to see you guys. How you doing? You all right?
Hello everybody and welcome to The Breakdown. This is a fresh, brand spanking new offering from TNT Sports. Well, other sports have done it, but we're doing it in rugby union now. The Breakdown, we're going to talk about all the biggest issues, some of the smaller ones, some funny ones. We're going to analyse, we're going to laugh, we're going to cry. With me for this first episode are a couple of our staffers at TNT Sports, World Cup winners Ben Kay and Emily Scarratt, and two Northampton Saints and England internationals and British and Irish Lions to be Henry Pollock and Tommy Freeman. A round of applause from you two for these two. I want to start with your view as his mate, all the Bourdeaux lads giving it this. After the final and since, and I know the Champions Cup final didn't go your way, we know that, but how do you feel about all that? Is it raw or do you love it?
No, I wouldn't say I love it. I would actually say it's if they want to do that and make you the front line of their celebrations, then fair play. He's probably got a bit of a target on his back through no fault of his own.
From your mouth, what actually happened right at the end? Because like the TV footage is obviously slightly behind, so they've probably caught the second part of the scuffle.
Yeah, the whistle goes and obviously it's pretty heated. I think Dingers and Jalibert were like pushing, shoving, and I kind of went over to Jalibert, pushed him and kind of got involved in it. I was like, I'm not letting kind of Dingers be on his own here. And then as I'm doing this, I see the loose head sprint off. So apparently, I didn't know this in the moment, but so Finn was looking around, and apparently the loose head was on the bench, and he like beelined it straight to me. Anyway, so we're in this, and then he basically grabs my neck and gets his hands like on my throat and like squeezes my neck. I wasn't pretty happy with this, you know. I was pretty angry. So anyway, I was just kind of like looking like this. I was like looking like this on his shirt. Managed to rip his shirt, and then that's
He was really proud of that.
Yeah.
He was so proud.
So I was actually I was like, what can I do here? But it looked quite cool. So yeah, I managed to do that, and then the bit that you see is as he turns away, his friend, I push him, and then his friend comes in, and then that's what everyone thinks it is, but it's actually not.
It's like a police interview, isn't it?
It was mad, didn't he? Yeah, so yeah, we had to kind of do statements
did you?
after. Yeah, do statements.
Right.
But it was mad. Like, you just won the Champions Cup, and the first thing you want to do is run on and strangle a 20-year-old. Do you know what I mean?
You've got to see that as a bit of a compliment, have you?
Well,
In a very twisted kind of way, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if
yeah,
that's their focus.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess it's nice to kind of get that recognition, but I think getting strangled.
Strangle me, please.
Yeah. There you go, mate.
Made it.
That'll get clipped up.
Yesterday's news, Tommy. No one's strangling you anymore, mate.
We were talking about earlier, and it's kind of the difference between like rugby and football. Like, football team wins the Premiership or wins the league, they're doing their own celebrations and they're not worrying about the other team they beat, and that's kind of where I think kind of rugby's getting it a little bit wrong. They're kind of making it not about it's not about a team, it's about kind of singling out people and stuff. But yeah, as you said, if they want to do it, they can do it.
What was this? Because they, like, people were, I saw something in the paper saying, oh, it's Henry Pollock saying he's got ice in his veins, but was there a story about why you did that in the Leinster game?
Do you want to say something?
No, isn't it? It's the footballers.
Yeah, you know Diego Dallo, the Manchester United player? So
Yeah.
that's actually his celebration. So he always does that. And I remember I was just watching a game and I saw him and I was like, I just like looked him up on Instagram and saw it on his Instagram page and I was like, that looks quite cool.
So those footballers that are doing their own thing, you've basically copied it. So you're going
So
to
if
get
you
some.
give it a big Sue, everyone will be like,
he's a
oh, okay.
rugby
But it's because people don't know it as much.
Yeah.
I think in the game we're crying out for, so many people speak about it, characters, moments, opportunities to grow the sport outside of, you know, the hardcore fans that we have. And I think things like that really do that. Someone like a Megan Jones in the women's game, she doesn't care at all what people think. She'll give it the big celebrations. It's the characters that we've got to try and get out of the game. Some people do it via social media, some people will do it on the pitch, some people will express themselves in different ways, and I think everybody is a different character. It's not my character, so I'm probably not going to do it, but for those that it is, we need to celebrate and, I guess, endorse that as much as we can.
Yeah, and lads, as for the games, do you look back at the game and think we should have won that, or do you think, do you know what, they were better than us, they are a better team than us at the moment, but give us a year or two and we'll be back?
Obviously, we had those two early knocks. Obviously, Rami went off in the first 10 seconds of the game. Ferbs obviously got knocked out pretty early, so that's affecting the back three pretty quickly.
You're out of position.
Yeah, sometimes. Jono obviously wasn't fit. He was like pretty big for us going forward and things like that. So, yeah, I think at the time, probably on the day, kind of it didn't really go our way, and they did deserve to win. And they played a good game plan. Like, they smashed our breakdown. Like, they got away with a lot of stuff in there, and that was something they went after harder, and yeah, that punished us.
When those two injuries happened, I thought you were in big trouble. When that happens and you do you start thinking, oh, maybe it's not going to be our day, or how do you get over that?
At the club, we all speak about, regardless of the 15 on the pitch, we all know our fundamentals so well, and we kind of train it week in, week out, and it doesn't really matter what kind of 15's on the pitch. So we believe that, and that's kind of engraved in our kind of our mindset going into game.
Well, my mindset went to, right, how do we win this game? And well, not going from, obviously, it's not being ideal for us, but it's like, how do we kind of have the best impact we can have wherever we are now? But it's not hard to get up for a final. Like,
we wondered how many injuries you might have been away from actually playing in a Champions Cup final in the backs.
Yeah, I'd say in the game, I actually asked the Ferg who brought the water on, I was like, if there's another injury, am I going in the backs here? And he was like, oh, we'll get to it if we need to. But yeah, I think when those two went down, and then I was thinking one more injury, potentially I would have to potentially slot in at 12, or potentially on the wing, because you can cover 13.
You're quicker than most of us as well.
You up for it? Are you up for playing in the backs if it?
Yeah, the opportunity's there. I'd do it.
Ideally 12, a bit less exposed, or do you just want to go for it and play 13 wings?
I actually don't know. Anywhere the ball wouldn't get too much, honestly. So potentially on the wing.
Not 10.
Open wing.
Definitely not 10.
Right, it's time for a break. You guys hold fire for 3.6 minutes. You guys stay where you are. After the break, we're going to talk about the state of the Prem.
The product, the entertainment value is great. What we have to do is take the bits from top 14 and the French leagues that work for us.
So guys, a lot is talked about in terms of the top 14 and Pro D2, the French second division, kind of being the ultimate setup to which we must all aspire, as if that's possible, or it's the ultimate dream, or whatever it is. And the last 5 Champions Cup, of course, including last weekend's, won by big budget French teams. The Prem to me looks fantastic. It looks like the rugby we're seeing is fantastic. It's competitive. It's lots of good stuff. Where do you see it moving, the Prem moving, sort of in the next 5 or 8 years? Do we absolutely have to direct all efforts towards becoming the next France, or is that not for us?
No, because look, I think the Prem, as you said, the product, the entertainment value is great. You know, the attendances are up, TV audiences are up. It's still not in a completely stable financial situation by any stretch of the imagination. What we have to do is take the bits from top 14 and the French leagues that work for us. We also don't have the amount of big money owners, I don't think that probably France have, but more importantly, the support. Traditionally, the French councils own the grounds, and even now, to this day, Toulouse, biggest turnover in world rugby, they got a 20 million grant from the local council to renovate their stadium. Now, there's no way Leicester City Council are giving Leicester Tigers 20 million to redevelop their stadium.
But Bath aren't allowed to redevelop their own,
exactly.
Even if they pay for
it. So it's like it's a whole community sort of way of life in France, which it's not yet in the UK. It probably never will be. But there are bits from the French game and the French organisation that we want to take. There'll be bits from other things. You know, people are talking about the whole franchise system. You know, we can't go to a complete franchise system because Wales at the moment, they did that. They had a load of clubs with big support, local support around villages. They sort of merged a load of them, and funnily enough, people weren't supporting them because those age-old rivals.
Lads, are you aware of any of this stuff when you're playing?
We're aware, and obviously you come up against sides like Bourdeaux and these French teams, and then you always hear about, oh, well, you'll stay in England, and then when you get to 30, you go off to France for the money and stuff like that. You hear that all the time, and it is kind of worrying, like, for yourself, like when's the Premiership going to become like that, or not the same, but like in the position where clubs are coping and kind of things are in a pretty happy place, and you're not always like, oh, we need to win this and we can stay here financially. We need to make sure the profits are here, like, and you're hearing those kind of conversations. But the Premiership is something I grew up and watched week in, week out, and it was what I aspired to be a part of. And yeah, if obviously that goes, it'll be quite sad.
You must feel the energy around the Premiership though, in terms of, like, I mean, the Prem Final's already sold out and we don't even know who's in it yet. The attendances at the big game and the game that was held at the Principality, even just down at Franklin's Gardens and stuff, like the energy around the Premiership from certainly fans that are in it at the moment, you must feed off of that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think we love playing at big packed out stadiums. That's why you want to play a sport, right? those big occasions like the one on the weekend is why you play a sport, is why you want to be there. You want to be playing in front of 70,000 fans at the Principality. So yeah, the more people that come watch, the more people that want to invest is only going to make the game bigger and make us want to play even more.
Going against Bourdeaux and falling 8 points short kind of showed to us that you don't need a massive bank to compete with these guys, and obviously Leinster as well. And yeah, it's really positive. And obviously fans-wise, it's very like 50-year-olds plus are the majority of the season tickets. So I think there's probably a onus on people like us, and obviously Henry's doing a pretty good job at it of bringing in more young people coming and playing the sport and stuff like that.
Kids latch on to the next big stars, don't you? See it in other sports, and you know, I just like a lot of, you know, I've got kids. Their attention span's not to sit down and watch 80 minutes of rugby, but they'll...
Reminds me of someone that actually.
This is mental.
But they'll...
Didn't know you're getting roasted.
Those snippets of like worldie tries and things,
Yeah.
they'll interact with that. And like
Yeah.
even so, you know, even the kids that are playing rugby don't necessarily want to watch the whole thing, but they're your kids that in 10 years' time, that's who you want as your young 23-year-old, 24-year-old season ticket holders.
Yeah.
I think also like that's so true, and I think that to make the sport bigger, the distance between the fans and the team and the players has to become smaller, and the fact that the way we kind of advertise rugby, and it's got to kind of be connecting with the fans and showing them stuff they've never seen before. Like, why don't we do like a behind the scenes, a day in the life at a club? Like,
actually, your social media department have been really good on that, haven't they? Like the stuff from the Leinster game, was brilliant.
No one's ever seen like Dingers talk in a huddle before, like the semi-final or the final. So stuff like that is really good, and it definitely brings the fans closer, and it makes us want to kind of interact with them more. And I think that's only, as I said earlier, only going to grow the game more.
A lot of that is about access, isn't it? So like you look at the documentary about the Six Nations that was on Netflix, and it's like, you know, I look at that and I think some countries have been good there and some countries have given nothing. And it's like, could you not zoom out for 1 minute and see how much people love this and how much the game would benefit from it, and let us into your change rooms to watch the lads playing keepy-uppies? Like, we're not watching them brush their teeth at night. Do you know what I mean? I'm up for that though. But it's like, I think it's important, the routine.
We're not very good at doing stuff we've not done before. In rugby, we're very stuck in our ways, aren't we, and traditional. We've got to have a willingness to open the doors a little bit and try something new. I mean, if it flops, it flops, but you've given it a shot.
When we talk about, you know, people like Henry coming in, you've got a responsibility to grow the game with your sort of new presence within it, but equally you must be aware that there'll be a certain section, like the Bourdeaux lads, that don't like someone new coming in and being sort of too overconfident and cocky.
I think at the club we have a great balance where kind of after a game, or if you do something well, we win a game, it kind of just gets brushed over quite quickly, and you don't really like talk about it that much. And like Monday morning, it's just straight into the next game. So I think that's like kind of definitely helped in the fact that you can't get stuck up on, yes, you might have done something amazing on Saturday, but actually if you don't do it again the next Saturday, then it doesn't mean anything. So I think for me, kind of just always having like what I'm doing next as a focus has been massive. And yeah, as I said earlier, like if people want to hate me online, or I don't really care.
I don't think they do anyway. I don't. I think it's one of those things like you know, it's like...
He knows that. He knows that.
We've spoken a bit already about the importance of bringing in new fans, younger fans. That appears, Henry, to be solely your responsibility in the English game for the next 10 or 12 years. So to that end, we have got some questions from 8-year-olds. Tap on there, little tapsy Ojo.
Hi, how do you keep fit and healthy, and can you sew my shirt?
We stay fit and healthy by eating well, and just doing a lot of training, I guess. Lots of gym, lots of running, and being in the open air is really important.
Some players don't like eating as much as they have to. Some are quite happy.
I actually hate it. I have to eat as much as I possibly can, otherwise, like, because I went on a massive, to put on some weight to kind of be more physically, I guess, more physically kind of demanding on the pitch, kind of moving up from the academy into the first team. So I kind of went through a stage of eating 7-8 meals a day, and
breakfast.
Kind of lost the love for it, I guess.
Next question.
I've got a question for Henry Pollock, and my question was, do you think flanker is a good position?
I think flanker is a great position. I'd say it's probably the best position on the pitch because 1 minute you can be with the forwards and then the next minute you can be with the outside back. So you do get the best of both worlds.
Have you ever played anywhere else?
Yeah, I used to play 9 when I was younger and a little bit at centre. But then kind of...
Like the weekend you played 8.
Yeah.
There's only one out-and-out 8 in the Lions squad. Obviously, Ben Earl's played a bit there as well. Does it now make any difference? Do you think there are as defined roles, or are you going there half expecting to play some of your games at 8?
Yeah, I'm happy to play wherever, I guess, whether that's a 7 or 8. At club, with having Joanna at 8, it definitely takes a little bit of load off your carrying. You don't have to think about that as much because he is so unbelievably good at it. That's his kind of USP, I guess. So that kind of definitely mentally, for me, is nice to not kind of worry about that. But definitely when you play at 8, I think the role of kind of carrying is on you, I guess, to kind of give the forward pack momentum. So I think mentally you do think about that.
Tommy, like last season or a couple of seasons ago, people were, before you sort of really broke through, people were saying, well, where might England play you? And is there an option outside centre? Are you very much, I much prefer being on the wing, or are you happy to be fluid as well?
No, I'm pretty happy to be fluid, to be honest. I think as you get older as well, I'm probably going to slow down. So if I can nail 13 and transfer, that would be really nice.
13's a fast 2, you know. Just
They're not as fast. They're the side salad. To the main course. Yeah.
But no, I love 13. Like, it's a completely different game, really, at times. So yeah, I'm happy to go wherever.
Yeah, same here, prop.
Blake.
Next question, please.
Right.
What is your favourite team other than your own?
Other than your own?
Oh, yeah. Who do you like watching?
Bourdeaux.
They got this guy called Jefferson Warren. You would love him. Very personable.
Mine's Quins.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I was a Quins fan.
Quins fan, that's right, yeah.
So I used to live in Ickenham. So I'd always get on the tube with Dad and watch the stoop a lot. So
I'd say probably the Blues in New Zealand is a cool team to watch. Yeah, I did a lot of travelling when I was younger, so kind of potentially one day maybe go and play down there would be cool, or yeah, different style of rugby, so it'd be quite cool.
Nice, like it. Go for it.
Next.
Where do you get your headbands from, and do you think you can get me one?
Accessorise.
Is that you? Accessorise. No, yeah, I wear the headband because my ears rub when I in tackles and collisions, so I just wear them to kind of not have that feeling.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I used
to inject I used to have to drain my own ears.
Same.
It's quite painful.
Well done. We have a little break now, after which we're going to come back. We're going to hear Tommy's top 5. I'm not telling you top 5 what, it's just Tommy's top 5.
The scrum is such an amazing attacking opportunity. You've got a load of boys in the middle in the scrum, you've got the whole width of the pitch to go and attack, and now you've basically got a free ride to execute, either from the 8 at the base or the 9.
Right, we're going to do a bit of analysis now, a deep dive. Constantly we are seeing rules tweaked a little bit, and recently the rules have been tweaked around scrum halves. So we're going to look at the scrum specifically on basically leaving scrum halves alone. We know there's a separate situation around the tackle area where scrum halves can't really get into each other. They're kind of given a zone of grace. So I want you to have a look, Scaz and Benny. You're going to have a look, and you guys are going to see what they're looking at and comment on it about how this law tweak is affecting both the attack and the defence that we're seeing on a weekly basis.
Zone of grace.
Yeah, I think
Sounds like a
Netflix.
Netflix series.
Yeah,
Quite good.
got
Like
an idea.
that.
Partridge amongst the pigeons. Right.
So one of the law changes you just said, so previously the defensive 9 was able to basically track the ball all the way through the scrum, so the offside line was the ball. That meant that they could put a lot of pressure on the 8 at the base, they could put a lot of pressure at the 9 at the base. You see that example there of Ben Spencer just hustling Alex Mitchell. And it basically meant often your starter plays were much more tricky to get off. This is now this season, so you can't even see the Bristol 9 in play, and this is just a really nice example of the difference. If I pause it there, look at the flatness and width that the pass that you're able to get from the base because there's no pressure. It then really stresses Harry Randall, so he's decided to go what I would call the boot, so behind the scrum to defend. It's really stressed him, he's trying to get across. And as you play it on, it just puts Northampton immediately on the front foot. And if we just highlight Ibatoye here, as it plays through, he's under loads of pressure. The defence haven't been able to get across. We'll skip that bit because Northampton just spill the ball a little bit, but
better pass.
It's just highlighting actually now. The scrum is such an amazing attacking opportunity. You've got a load of boys in the middle in the scrum. You've got the whole width of the pitch to go and attack, and now you've basically got a free ride to execute either from the 8 at the base or the 9.
So I guess like the question here, I'm going to show other way around. So Randall putting the ball in Mitchell, but you defended this game slightly differently. Yeah. Like when a new law comes in, do you guys like chat about how you're going to do it? Yeah, because obviously every coach has got different ideals. What suits you? How do you come up with the best way?
Ultimately, well, for something like this, it's just a numbers game. So obviously we'll just match up who we've got in front of us, and then there's, like you see with Randall, he kind of painted a lot of different pictures. He sits back in the line, and if he does that, it's kind of obviously giving us all that space to go after initially and make them kind of come in a little bit more. I'm
going to show how you defended it. Now you're both involved in this because you're both playing.
Oh,
so
lads.
I reckon.
You made a mess.
I reckon someone. Well, basically, there's 3 people I think are involved in this clip. You see Alex Mitchell there. He's not here to defend himself, so feel free to blame him for this one. But if I pause here as they come off the base, so as I said, Mitch is here. Now, you are on the open side, Henry. Yeah. But as I play this on, and again, exactly the same as what Emily was talking about, this gap off the base here between the back of the scrum and Finn Smith's is quite big. So, whose role would it be to fill this in? Because it's either got to be you or the 9 to fill that first gap. But if we play it on, you'll see that you both end up sort of running at a similar sort of pace across, but that means everyone has to stay quite tight so they find space. Now, you probably knew that Bristol liked to attack in those wide channels, and you were obviously part of the pendulum, so Mitch, does he have to stay because you're dropping back? Or
I think on that clip especially, Mitch is he has to stay in the picture in case the winger goes left with the 8.
Exactly, yeah.
Which puts more emphasis on as the open side to give Finn inside coverage.
Yeah.
Especially with teams where the 9 can sit back and then our 9 has to hold against him. It makes the 8's role bigger. So for defensively, it gives you, the flanker has to get out faster to then give the 10 kind of leeway to go with him.
But you're being hit by, I think was it Manny Eogan?
Yeah,
like he wants you to stay on, and
it's a fine balance. You can't leave the scrum early because then the Monday morning meeting, the scrum coach having to go at you.
Yeah.
First job's first, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess the easy thing that I think about is scrum first and just keep watching the ball, try and track the ball through, I guess. And then Mitch always calls the ball out. So when Mitch says that call out, that's my cue to get up and give pressure on the inside.
So what Ben is, I think, wanting to ask is that, are you slow off here, or is Mitch slow to call you off?
I think realistically, with that much space, it's not ideal.
So you're going to disappear once you know that it's going that way. You're going to get into here, which means your fullback can drift across.
Yeah.
So Mitch sort of has to stay for a bit of time, knowing you're going to do that.
Yeah. I could probably have gone earlier there. I'll put my hand up. Ibatoye's gone pretty early there.
I can definitely get off faster. I think Mitch has to stay there just in case the 8-9 happens. So I think definitely I can get off faster and give Finn more coverage. But then I think, as you were about to mention,
ultimately we want the play to happen as quickly as possible for them. So if we can get obviously Henry helping Finn out, that Finn means he can move on and Hutch doesn't have to sit here.
They do a good job actually of Van Rensburg digging in to make Hutch sit back.
From an attacking point of view, obviously if you've been playing at 8, that must be quite exciting because you basically know you can pick up, take off and join what is then part of the next strike, as opposed to often in the previous years before the law changed, you'd probably have to back in and pop it to the 9 and then that was your role almost done.
Yeah, definitely. I think is looking from both sides, action beats reaction, right? So if the 8 going to pick up and now the 9 is now sitting in the boot, as you said, if our 9 can hold their 9, it means that there's one extra defender if the 8 can get out fast.
And he's running over 10 as well, which is also
which is ideal, I guess.
So if you're like the role of the massive carrying Augustus or the Tom Willis, those guys, and the Billy Vunipola a couple of years ago.
Licking
Like
the lips.
that role is still there. It's still, you want that momentum. You talked about Joanno being missing for the final, and it was a big loss. But there is a lot of scope now for someone who's really, really quick, light on their feet and quick at 8 now on offensive scrums.
Get off the base fast and as I guess, kind of get outside the 7 as early as possible, because if you flip it on the head, defensively you want to, as a 7, to get off and put pressure on the 8. But if you can, as the 8, get out fast enough there that he can't give it pressure on the 8, it's one extra man in the attack line.
Right, we asked you for some top 5s. We're going to do yours first.
Yep.
Tommy, we asked you for your top 5 back 3 players, no particular order, from the Prem this season. Do you remember who you gave us?
Yeah.
Right, tell us, please. I mean, I've got proof.
Furbs.
Yep, George Fairbank.
Sorry. Santi Carreras.
Yep, Santi Carreras, yeah.
Tom Roebuck.
Yeah, great shout.
Manny Fairwiboso.
Yes.
And Elliot Daly.
Well, actually, you said
Slight.
Ollie Slightholme / Elliot Daly. Well, you've just dropped your mate.
There you go. That's fine.
No, we asked
That's
you for
fine.
5, that's 6. We asked you for 5, that's 6. So you've got to drop Ollie Slightholme or Elliot Daly. It's ruthless, mate. It's Lions you. Elliot's gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Lions, buddy.
He's number 6 though. At least he's got the fact that he's number 6.
No, there's no numbers. It's no particular order.
All right.
Well, actually,
Well, if he's got him, and he was in the top 6.
the only number we're sure of is Elliot's, actually, on that. So,
Joe Carpenter.
who do you think's not there? Joe Carpenter.
Will Muir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why don't you rate them? What's wrong with them?
Good.
But you, I presume you rate those guys. They're doing great stuff, but there's just a lot of good players about. And you've picked a couple of lads who've had a few injuries in here, but you're
was
saying...
this for the season?
Or
just general?
just
Because
what
I
you
thought
reckon,
it was
mate,
general.
for
That
the
was the
Prem.
comms I got.
What's Slight's like? Because he is one of the most intense looking players.
Yeah.
Is he like that off the pitch as well?
It's like the new Mike Brown, isn't he, when he plays?
I wouldn't
constantly
say
ready.
No, not too much intense. Just like, how would you describe him? You're probably better.
Simple, maybe.
Come on.
No, Slights is different.
He's a dad.
He's a dad, firstly, which is he's obviously taking more responsibility.
Yeah,
right? So that
well, he's no
changes.
crack anymore.
Responsibility.
So he's gone down
got
to the
crack,
side of the
he's
change room where it's kind of old-ish. Do you know what I
Get
mean?
some sleep.
And also his haircut is horrific at the minute.
Yeah, let's chat about
That's
that
horrific.
because
It is.
It
I love
kills
it, but I
us.
can't
It
defend
kills
him
us,
anymore.
doesn't it, when we see people with dodgy haircuts?
Yeah, you're like, mate, all this
what we would give to be able to have a normal haircut.
Have a choice.
like we've got this is a lovely head of hair you got here, Tommy. It's nice. It's almost it's a lovely colour because it's actually it's not highlighted. I don't think,
no.
but you've got a nice little light tint to it. So different lights, it's different colours.
Yeah.
It's really nice. You've got full I would call public schoolboy flop, which is but it suits you. It's nice and there's a bit of mulleted shaved in around the sidey.
Looks
bits.
great with the headband as well.
Yeah, it looks good because it comes
Beautiful.
right over. It's nice stuff. But let's talk about Ollie Slightholme because he's taken a position on that, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's not great, right? He went through a stage when he was injured of not cutting his hair, and it was getting long, and boys weren't a fan of it, if I'm honest with you.
He gets some stick. He does.
He got some stick from it, but to be fair to him, he stuck with it.
Yeah.
Kids love
Is
it.
that part of it now?
Yeah.
The more
it's not
stick he
going,
gets, the more
The
stubborn he
moustache
gets.
came
yeah.
off, to be fair. 'Cause,
Moustache
that
came
was
off.
pretty howling as well.
I think if you
gone
kind of do what they say, that they win, you lose
Yeah.
type thing.
George Fairbank's kept the moustache, isn't he, for all this time?
Yeah, he's.
And it's like, sort of,
I think it looks good on
it
him.
looks really good, but you just know that whatever he did,
He'd
looked
look
really good.
good.
Like, all right, I'm going to wear an eye patch. I don't need to. I'm going to wear.
How old is he now? What
He's 28.
28. See, I reckon he's waiting till he's 30 and then he'll shave it off and everyone will go, God, he looks 5 years younger. Give him another
He's
contract.
planning all
Yeah, exactly.
So smart.
He's one of those guys that I don't want to be horrible. I don't. But he's one of those guys that I want what happened to Brad Barrett to happen to George. A little bit. Because Brad was a decent looking guy when he first arrived. By the end, he looked like a warrior. But it was Mars bars everywhere, wasn't it? He looked like he'd been in the war. He carried some ball up,
Yeah.
Nick Abendinen, great looking guy when he first started out, Bath fullback. By the end,
Emily Scarratt.
Emily Scarratt smashed to bits. Anyway, right, time for a break. We're going to come back, have a look ahead to round 18, and we've got a top 5 from him.
Theoretically, his scrummaging should only get stronger, shouldn't it, from the age he is now? And if he can keep that athleticism around the field, the sky's the limit, really.
Right, we asked Henry Pollock to give us his top 5 young bucks. Now, to be a young buck, a young thruster in the Prem, you had to have played in the Prem, obviously.
And thrust.
And a bit thrusty, and you had to be 23 years of age or under. So, do you remember who you gave us? It's there if you don't.
Asher, a poker for draw.
Yeah.
Tobias Elliott,
Yeah.
Joe Woodward, Finn Smith, and Ricky from Sale.
Marcy White. That is actually, we saw your list before we went on air and we were like, that is decent. You've got 5 goodies there.
Better than his list?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems. There was a few problems with his. Basically picked lads that hadn't played, picked a couple of people for each slot and then dropped his mate, which was awkward. I would like particularly, Joe Woodward is probably... He's had a massive impact at Leicester and they're going great guns. They're on for a home playoff and he has been, is it a revelation? He has been fab.
Yes, but still slightly under the radar.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
agree.
No one's really...
Same as Marcy White, actually, a bit under the radar. But he makes the odd massive hit or big, but actually, so he's getting a bit more recognition. But Woodward, for me, I reckon a lot of supporters wouldn't yet pick him out, but they soon will. But you knew about him before, right?
Yeah, he's very good. He came to the 20s ranks when I think he was 2 years above me, or a year above me, but he was too old for his year, so I never actually played with him. But yeah, they spoke really highly of him, and he's kind of kicked into the scene this year, and he's done really well. And I'm looking forward to seeing him kind of in the next couple of rounds.
And Asher Opoku for Joe, Benny, I love, presume you love.
Yeah, because he's got the goods as a scrummager, but he's got everything else as well. Theoretically, his scrummaging should only get stronger, shouldn't it, from the age he is now? And if he can keep that athleticism around the field, I think he's at a great club that will get the best out of him with a great coach. So, yeah, the sky's the limit, really.
He's also ridiculously strong.
Is he? Yeah.
You've seen him in camp. Yeah. He is ridiculously strong, and also he has...
What, gym strong, you mean?
Gym
or throwing bodies around? Both.
Both.
Yeah.
And he has not 1 ounce of fat on him.
Will he be always one of those guys that has a preferred side and can play on the other side if necessary? Because at the moment, England and Sale seem to be in different camps as to which side he should play on.
It would be really good for him and therefore for Sale as well in the long run if they just do find a way to give him minutes at loosehead on the other side as well, because you can fall out of habits and then, you know, if you're playing on the right wing every week, Tommy, and you play 20 games or 30 games in a row on the right wing, suddenly you're 20 minutes into a World Cup semi-final and you've got to play 13 and you ain't done it for all that time. It's very different from whether you've done it 4 or 5 times in the 6 months leading up just for half an hour here or there, isn't it?
Also we're in the 20 setup last year, it was amazing to have. So that obviously Asher coming in did more tight head than he did loose head, but then because they had Afo, they moved him to loose head, and then to be able to have both of them on each side instead of having one starting, one on the bench kind of was mad. And he literally played the whole Six Nations, whole World Cup campaign at loose head, and he didn't even look out of place. It was mad. And then we had obviously Afo on the other side, which was, that was a pretty mean scrum.
And Marcy White, Marcy White, we really like, don't we? We really like. You like him as an outside back yourself. You like him?
Yeah, he's good. He's a powerful guy. And obviously him being so young. I know his brother quite well, Samson, obviously when he was at Northampton. So I saw Ricky when he was coming through. And now he's just put his game together and he's dangerous.
So, like sometimes, we typecast people a little bit, don't we? Thinking that someone's just going to be a certain sort of player, but he can properly play.
Yeah.
Like it's not just the power game, and that you combine that with. Do you see the footwork on the England socials when they met for camp? Yeah. Well, that step was unbelievable. Like he must have turned around straight after and go, "Oh, good, they were recording that for such." You get that?
That was good.
Stick it on Tickety Tock. Yeah. But that's sort of a bit full packaging, because if you're worried about someone's ability to run over the top of you, you tend to plant your feet a little bit. And if they then have the ability to beat you with their footwork, it's the full package.
Movement and skill, nightmare.
Finn Smith was one that surprised me, not obviously because he's on the list, but because he's still that young.
I
remember when he sent me the list, I was like, Finn's on there. Yeah. And I was like, where's Tommy?
And I like Elliot because I'd run out of money because I'd spent too much on Tommy Freeman on my fantasy rugby team against my son, and then I saw Elliot and I thought, I'll go for him. He's cheap. He's 2 million or something. Yeah. And which is obviously what you're all being paid. 2 million was cheap, and so I got him, and he's been an absolute godsend.
Yeah. One day, mate, hit the big leagues. Yeah. Right, round 18, lads. Northampton Saints. There's no chance now of you making the top 4. So are you two bothering this weekend or not? You can tell us, because by the time it goes out, you don't have to lie, because everyone will know already.
No, we're not playing.
Oh, no. Why not? What else you got going on?
We're getting them right, though. We're getting the team right.
You're getting the team right, you're doing your bit.
Training them hard. It's been a weird kind of vibe in this week, in the fact that nothing to play for, I guess. And obviously it's going to be a different squad to what we kind of put out last weekend against in the final. So, but yeah, like we spoke about this week, be it just talking about how good it is, the opportunity for some of these boys to kind of prove themselves. Those boys who haven't been playing have done an amazing job this year to prep us week in and week out. And that goes unnoticed in most squads, right? There's boys that don't play on the weekend, but they train every single day at the club and they prep us for the game. So I think we kind of owe it to them this week, and we have done this week, to kind of show them that we can also do that and we can prep them right and kind of see it off in a nice way. You're going to go out there and play against some of the best players in the league, and hopefully they thrive on that, and we see a good performance.
There's always a motivation, isn't there, for a last game of the season? I know it's nothing on it, but whether you've got a team social or whether you're going on holiday or whatever it is, you always want to leave in a good mood, and generally winning that game puts you in that, exactly.
I guess as well, like with what you guys are coming up, and then you've got the England boys that will have to go, like it's quite difficult, isn't it? Because it's almost suddenly you'll be straight into thinking about sort of the Lions journey and everything else. So you probably won't have that. I imagine you've already had that end of season blowout after last weekend a little bit, but will you get together for a Super Saturday, see the boys off?
There'll be a bit of a social. Haven't decided where yet, but I think there is one.
Do you guys do fancy dress, or is it just?
We actually are
cold, isn't it?
I thought you were doing it today. Is that?
He's been prepping that all day, hasn't he? Yeah. I mean, they've come as a partner, haven't they?
Written there.
Yeah. Mate, joke. Just jealous of his sponsorship. Henry, who do you think's going to win the Prem?
I think Sale will win it.
Think?
Yeah, I think Sale will win it, and let's see if I'm right or wrong.
Those Curry boys, eh?
Very good, very, very good. And then, we got they got probably very good tenant George Ford, so controls it well.
Right, Sale Sharks like it.
I think Bath are obviously good. They're on a bit of a high from the other game. I don't know. I'm going to say Leicester, just to chuck it out there.
Wow.
Okay.
Just going to chuck it out.
That'll be popular.
I was going to say.
Do you want them to win that, or
do you want to do that one again?
Yeah. Rewind that.
He didn't say he wanted to.
I just said I think we might.
And in terms of us lot on TNT Sports, we made predictions. I don't know. Who knows what we said? I think about like December or January or something. We were asked, and it was caught on camera, unfortunately, who we think's going to win. I think we all said Bath were going to finish top in terms of top 4. I think
put Sarries in there.
I think I put Sarries in there. You put Sarries in there. I think we all put Leicester in there, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Anyway,
I put Bristol.
You put Bristol in there.
Sale.
Yeah, I put Sale in. Yeah.
Mainly because when Gary, our producer, asked us and had to chase me for a few days, I looked at the table and just gave him what was the top 4 in January.
I think you'll stay right.
Yeah, exactly.
After a lot of consideration and prep, like say,
who do I think will win it? I think Bath should win it. I think the fact that they had the disappointment last year will massively help them. Again, the high of winning on Friday, that big atmosphere, it like helps you. The one worry, and it's the hardest thing, is if you finish that far out in front, the whole conversation around who do we pick this weekend for them automatically can have the effect of sort of taking the intensity down a little bit. The fact that they're not in knockout rugby and they haven't been in the Premiership for 4 weeks, whereas Sale, for example, have been in knockout rugby for about 10 weeks. There's always that worry that if we have a week off before, do we come in a little bit undercooked? But I think Bath have been the standout team and they deserve to win. I'm going to back them, but I quite like the Sale chat as well.
Yeah, I think Bath. I think they deserve to win. Obviously, we've not had the last round, but they're already 15 points at the top, aren't they? I think their strength and depth is a joke. When you look at the bench, there's almost an elevation in quality, not a drop off. But I don't think it's going to be easy. Knockout rugby is a totally different beast.
They got Thomas du Toit though.
Yeah.
Who else do you need? Guys like that Finn Russell, mate. As soon as you got Thomas the Tank, mate.
Off the
What do you
bench.
think?
Phenomenal off the
Tries,
bench. Yeah, I think Bath win it for no reason other than they've been the best team for most of the season. So you're sort of backing the favourites, which is not the most original thing.
It's a good little battle of all the 10s that are left in the top 4. There's a lot of 10s that are very, very good, and like Fordy's in the form of his life, isn't he?
Yeah.
Pollard, if he's still there, if Leicester gets to the final, he's got that World Cup winning mentality in big games, and he's on his way out, so he'd want to win it. There's Finn Russell, obviously, and McGinty if Bristol get there. So I reckon it might come down to whose 10 plays the best.
Yep, very interesting. Right, now that's the end of the breakdown. Thank you to our 2 staffers, Benny and Skaz. Thank you very much. And our 2 guests, Tommy and Henry. Very, very welcome. Thanks for coming down, boys. Great fun. This has been the Breakdown, a TNT Sports production. All of the round 18 games, as well as the playoffs and, of course, the Gallagher Premiership Final, you will find on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. See you next time.